know it's lonely on the top shelf, 'cause I've been there myself. Oh, I've been there, deep in my cups, high in the sky, when I just wanted something of my own. Just wanted something of my own. Looking for someone of my own, my own. Floating down that moving sidewalk, I go clear-eyed and calm. Don't want the fruit from that still life. It's held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. This torch is heavy, but I travel light. It's lonely on the top shelf, 'cause I've been there myself. Oh, I've been there, deep in my cups, high in the sky, when I just wanted something of my own. Just wanted something of my own. Looking for someone of my own, my own. Close the window and your eyes disappear into the blue. Wrap your fingers around the great escape. drinking moonshine on the moon. It's got you feeling like a queen, but you're not quite. Looking down on those traveling lights, I'd best be on my way. I'd best be on my way. Floating down that moving sidewalk, I go clear-eyed and calm. Don't want the fruit from that still life. It's held me far too long, and without you, no longer trouble. I'm looking down on those traveling lights, and I'm on my way. And I'm on my way. This torch is heavy, I travel light. I know it's lonely on the top shelf, 'cause I've been there myself. Oh, I've been there, deep in my cups, high in the sky, when I just wanted something of my own. Just wanted something of my own. Looking for someone of my own, my own. Floating down that moving sidewalk, I go clear-eyed and calm. Don't want the fruit from that still life. It's held me far
Good
too
morning,
long.
Acadiana. Thank you for tuning in to Local News Live, a production of AOC Community Media in partnership with the Acadiana Advocate, our source of journalism and news reporting here in the Acadiana area. We're happy to bring you the news as it was written, but we read it to you so that you get it in an audio format. We bring this news to you Monday through Friday between 9 and 10, and we could not do it, of course, without the generous volunteer efforts of our awesome news readers. And today we're joined with a familiar, though somewhat unfamiliar this week since we haven't heard from him every day. But we are hearing from him this morning, luckily. It's Mr. Bruce Cohen. Bruce, welcome back to Local News Live.
Well, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate the honor. It's nice to have different voices appear on the morning local news live, but I'm happy to be here and ready and willing, as they say.
Well, thank you so much, Bruce. I am going to go listen on Cypress Street. Thanks for reading the news, buddy.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Well, good morning, Acadiana. Today is Friday, July 31st. It's the last day of the month. We're heading into August. Can you believe it? We're over halfway there through the year of 2020, which will absolutely go down in history as a very unusual year in the life of the world. So we start off with Acadiana bars say it's not closing time. Business owners sue Edwards, State Fire Marshal by Megan Wyatt. Acadiana bar owners are suing Governor John Bel Edwards and State Fire Marshal Butch Browning for what they say are overly strict coronavirus restrictions that unfairly target one business sector. 11 bars are named in the lawsuit, which was filed Wednesday in federal court. 7 of those bars are in New Iberia. The remaining bars are in Lafayette, Youngsville, and Morgan City. They include My Place Bar and Grill in Lafayette, 501 Sports Bar, and Dewey's Lounge, both of Youngsville, SoCo Sports Bar, Bubba's Saloon, Quarter Tavern, Twister Tavern, Emerald Billards, Cantinas Downtown, and Napoleon's on the Teche, all of New Iberia, and Pool Do's Sports Bar right out of Morgan City. Ty Budman, who owns Quarter Tavern, said he and the owner of Emerald Billards were the instigators of the lawsuit. They met with local and state representatives in mid-July after the governor announced he was closing bars down again just weeks after reopening them at reduced capacity. The first go-around, we didn't do anything, Baudouin said. But when this came back and it was just bars he was shutting down, we knew we had to do something. It just ain't fair. Jimmy Faircloth, who served as a counsel for former Governor Bobby Jindal, is representing Baudouin and the other bar owners. And in the lawsuit, Faircloth argues that Edwards cannot show a real or substantial relation between the closure of bars to on-site drinking and the public health crisis. Faircloth said only a small number of known COVID-19 cases have been traced to bars by the state, and he said none of those cases were traced to the Acadiana bars in question. Bars have come under scrutiny at a state and national level as public health experts identify them as hotspots for the virus. The Louisiana Department of Health says it has traced 464 confirmed coronavirus infections to 41 bars, among the largest number of cases tracked to a specific type of business. You can't prove it, Baudouin said. You can't tell me they're going straight to the bar and back home. They're eating at restaurants and they're going to their friends' houses and whatever. The Acadiana bar owners argue in their lawsuit that the virus cases traced to bars represent less than half of 1% of the more than 100,000 confirmed cases across Louisiana. The lawsuit does not pose a disproportionately high risk to the public that justifies restrictions targeted specifically to them. They say Edwards' actions violated federal and state constitutional protections. In the lawsuit, Faircloth said Edwards' coronavirus restrictions may have warranted the benefit of the doubt. Excuse me. In the early days of the outbreak of the COVID-19 disease caused by the virus, but he argues that more scientific data is available that undermines Edwards' decision. Edwards banned on-site consumption at bars earlier this month after previously allowing bars to open at reduced capacity with restaurants and other businesses. The governor and his health advisors said bars have been specifically problematic because people tend to huddle closely together inside without masks while drinking and lapse into their virus precautions the more alcohol they consume. Even Baudouin admits that bars can be problematic when it comes to enforcement, but he argues that restaurants, casinos, and other businesses remain open even when they're not compliant. Don't get me wrong, Baudouin said. I know for a fact that not all bar owners are following the rules, and that sucks. They're the problem. They're the reason we got shut down in the first place. But you can go to the casino, the bingo hall, and the restaurants and order a drink. What's the difference at my bar that's 90% outside? Faircloth said he would file a motion Thursday to block enforcement along with a companion lawsuit in the Eastern District Bar for bar owners in the New Orleans area. Bodeman, who's owned the business since early 2019, said bar owners from across the state have been reaching out to asking him to join the lawsuit. It's not like we're looking for money, he said. We just want to reopen. That's all we're after. Okay, the deadline nears for Lafayette Online Academy applications. Confirmations sent to parents of 7,500 students by Katie Gagliano. Lafayette parents are scrambling to make a final decision about whether to enroll their children in the Lafayette Online Academy as the program deadline looms on Monday. The deadline to confirm a slot in the Lafayette Online Academy is Monday at 4:30 p.m. The Lafayette Online Academy is a self-guided online learning alternative through K through 12 students who do not want to attend in-person classes this fall because of the novel coronavirus pandemic. The curriculum is completed through the Edge Unity learning platform, and students watch pre-recorded lessons and then complete virtual assignments, quizzes, and tests. Allison Dickerson, spokeswoman for the Lafayette Parish School System, said as of Thursday morning, 7,500 applications have been submitted for the program, about a quarter of the system's enrollment. The applications don't signal hard student enrollment numbers, and the district is asking parents who've applied to commit to the children's spot or be purged from the program as the district tries to make staffing decisions before the August 17th school start date. Teachers will be assigned to support the online academy and assist students as a supplement to their virtual coursework. What we were concerned about is the parents who signed up 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and didn't have all the information that's available today. It's one of the reasons we are having the recommitment form, because new information developed that may have changed people's minds, Dickerson said. The district sent a mass email Wednesday asking parents to confirm their child's enrollment. Dickerson said the district has been contacted by large groups of parents who did not receive the initial confirmation email, and they're resending the correspondence. Parents are asked to check their spam folders. If parents do not receive the email, they should be proactive in contacting their child's base school counselor or a Lafayette Online Academy counselor to confirm their enrollment, Dickerson said. Sheila Demouche, a Youngsville mother of 4, was one of the parents missed on the original email. She says she didn't receive the commitment email until afternoon Thursday and had been feverishly checking her email inbox and spam folders after seeing news of the commitment request on the news Wednesday evening. Demouche said she has not been contacted by the school system about her children's enrollment in Lafayette Online Academy since she applied July 18th. She says she received a basic confirmation email stating the application had been received and she would receive more information in the coming weeks. But it was unclear whether the email served as a confirmation for all 4 children's applications or only one child. The mother of 4 says she's tried to wait patiently in the 2 weeks since, but she didn't know what to expect. She should be waiting for a contract or contact from the school system. She should be contacting each school herself to confirm enrollment and make plans. It's just not clear. I feel like it's very hard to understand what the parent is required to do, Demouche said. Dickerson said the school system had originally announced its intention to have school-based committees contact each family to discuss their application and answer questions about whether the Lafayette Online Academy was the best fit for the child. But the plan was phased out as applications rose into the thousands and more information was released publicly. Instead, the district focused on sharing information online, answering the most common questions with frequently asked questions, and asking parents to contact their base school's counselor or for more specific needs, she said. DeMoshe says she spoke to a counselor from Southside High after sending a direct email Wednesday and was working quickly to get a counselors or staff members on the phone at her other children's schools before the Monday deadline. The Southside counselor informed DeMoshe of her son, returns to the Southside campus in January. He would not be reintegrated into traditional classes and will be kept with a separate pod of students who will finish the year through virtual programs with the assistance of a teacher. DeMoshe says she was shocked by the news because Lafayette Online Academy materials and information from the district had not made it clear that high school students would not return to a traditional classroom. But she said it hasn't deterred her from going virtual. It's unclear if a similar policy will apply to our elementary and middle school students, she said. The Youngsville mother has a child who is a junior at Southside High, 6th and 8th grade graders at Youngsville Middle School, and a first grader at Green T. Linden Elementary. She's kept them home since school was closed in March, as case numbers have risen and family members have gotten the virus. DeMoshe said her stepmother and her fiance's mother both tested positive for COVID-19. Her stepmother was hospitalized and received oxygen treatments and therapy, though she was never put on a ventilator. They still have good and bad days, even after technically recovering. She also has acquaintances who have died from the disease, she said. I was on the fence about the Lafayette Online Academy because their health comes first to me, but at the same time, I'm not a professional. I wasn't trained to teach. I don't want to see them set up for failure. I want to see them back. But then my stepmom tested positive sometime last month, not even a full month ago, and that was the final straw for me. I'm going to keep them home, DeMoshe said. She says she's concerned about guiding her children through the Common Core style materials, but she's fortunate to be able to closely monitor their learning while earning her massage therapy license online. DeMoshe says she's already begun developing a learning schedule to get her children into a routine and ensure they reach the necessary weekly benchmarks. It will be difficult, but they'll make it through, she said. I feel like I can protect them better at home, DeMoshe said. Again, we're going to our first PSA public service announcement for the morning. Dreams Foundation of Acadiana offers free sign language class via Zoom. The Dreams Foundation, or DREAM stands for Disability Resources, Education, Activities, Management, and Services. The Dreams Foundation of Acadiana will offer the public a free sign language class on Friday, July 31st, that's today, at 10 a.m. via Zoom. Interested participants can join via Zoom. The meeting ID number is 865-4014-5179, or you can probably go to the Dreams website and find the information there. The class will be instructed by Myra Mouton, special education teacher. There are many benefits to learning sign language. It introduces you to a new culture and community. It helps improve your peripheral vision and reaction time, and you can meet new people and make new friends. We're very excited to have Myra spearhead this project, and we invite the public to join us as we explore the world of learning sign language in this first session, stated Danielle Watkins, Executive Director for Dreams Foundation of Acadiana. We will have additional sessions, and that information will be announced on our Facebook page. For more information about the sign language series, contact Dreams Foundation ACA@gmail.com or join the Facebook event for updates regarding the classes at facebook.com/Dreams Foundation of Acadiana. Have you ever wanted a poem or story written just for you? Here is your chance to have a lovely poem or story written by one of our esteemed authors. And the program is entitled Words for You, a fundraiser for Festival of Words, the annual literary festival that's held in Grand Coteau. This year, it will be held virtually. Dates July 8th through the August 26th. And you can go to festivalwords.org to get all the information that you need, or you can contact Martha Garner at fowmartha@gmail.com or call 337-804-2482. During a difficult year, creative expression is more important than ever. The Festival of Words has developed an alternative fundraiser to Word Crawl. Words for You is a project of commissioned poems, stories, and songs. Under this project, festival supporters will have the opportunity to commission a work by a favorite author. How it works is that there are approximately, I believe now there are over 40 authors who are available to choose from. Go to festivalwords.org to begin the process. At the homepage, at the very top of the page, you'll see a red banner that says Words for You. Click on that, and it'll get you to all the information you need. Choose an author to create an original work for you. Make a donation. Fill out a brief questionnaire about yourself to help the author get started. The writer receives the request and creates a work based on the prompts. And a virtual performance of the new works will take place September 10th. Note, limited to one piece per author. Some authors are doing more than one, but most authors are taking on just one person at a time. Volunteer authors this year include Darryl Bork, Dominic Cross, Darryl Bork, who's a former state poet laureate, Tony Gaspett, Gina Ferreira, Mona Lisa Saloy, Valentine Pierce, John Warner Smith, who is a current state poet laureate, and many more. Donations are $50 for one original work or $100 for a poem by a current or former poet laureate. Again, if you're interested, contact Martha Gardner at fowmartha@gmail.com or 337-804-2482 or Patrice Melnick at festivalwords@gmail.com. 337-254-9695 is where you can reach Patrice. Okay, we get back into our news stories for the morning. Lafayette Bessie member speaks on pandemic by Ken Stickney. The State Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, or Bessie, began the pandemic without advance warning that schools would close and with no state superintendent in place, District 7 Representative Holly Boffey said on Thursday. Speaking to the Rotary Club of Lafayette, Boffey, a Lafayette Republican, in her third term on Bessie, said the board's predicament came about when the World Health Organization, WHO, declared the pandemic on March 11th, which was also the last official day of work for John White, who had served as superintendent for 8 years. I'm an optimistic person, but 2020 has been hard, Boffey said, challenging in a lot of ways. She said it was difficult to start the pandemic without a superintendent in place. Kate Brumley, former superintendent in DeSoto and Jefferson Parish, was named superintendent in June and without immediate plans for instruction of students who were sent home. She said Governor John Bel Edwards made the decision to close public schools, not local leaders. At the end of the day, the kids went home, she said. Think about the months that teachers spent building relationships and they don't have the chance to say goodbye. But troubles were just starting. Boffey said school systems and teachers faced real challenges in adjusting to teaching during the pandemic. Some came from the need to change how to deliver their lessons, but a lot of them came from the home lives of students. Many students have no internet or devices at home, she said. That kept students from writing papers and learning. She said she was surprised to learn that internet is not available everywhere in Lafayette Parish. She said, fortunately, the federal government has funded some assistance to enable school systems to bridge the technology gap between home and school, but she said everyone is ordering equipment, which delays delivery. She also said Bessie established minimum health and safety standards for 2020-21 at its July 14th meeting, based on meetings involving the state office and health professionals. The year will start with students in phase 2, which means they will be taught in limited class sizes. Among the students in phase 2 are no more than 25 students in a single room or outdoors, mandated face coverings for grades 3 through 12, social distancing, symptom monitoring, and more. Buses should be no more than 50% full in phase 2. Boffey said phase 2 can include hybrid education, which would keep students in classrooms about 50% of the time, but she said that is a local decision. She says she hopes the state allows individual school districts to make decisions based on their local circumstances. For example, she said, Lafayette Parish is in a hotspot for COVID-19, while Cameron Parish in southwestern Louisiana faces significantly fewer COVID-19 risks. She said establishing health and safety guidelines is something that should involve the best care of students, not policies. Buffy, a former Louisiana Teacher of the Year, has also started work in Lafayette Parish as principal of the W.D. and Mara Baker Career Center, which is dedicated to preparing students for the workforce in areas that include welding, mechanics, culinary arts, and health. All right, next story, Acadia sheriff sued over man's suicide. When widow says guards walked by corpse 30 times without taking action by Ben Myers. The widow of a man who killed himself in the Acadia Parish Jail last year is suing the sheriff's office in federal court, claiming that correctional officers falsified suicide watch logs, refused to give the man the psychiatric medication he needed, and repeatedly walked by the corpse without taking action. Rocky Cheney was hanging in a detox cell on August 20th for more than 2 hours, even though the call was under video surveillance, jail records show. Guards walked by Cheney's windowed cell 30 times in that span, failing each time to either notice that Cheney was dead or do anything about it. According to the lawsuit, which was filed by Lafayette attorney David Rutledge, paramedics were called only after an inmate notified jail staff. The lawsuit, citing the video surveillance, documents each time the guards passed the cell. Cheney's widow, Olga Cheney, who accuses Sheriff K.P. Gibson and the warden Laura Benoit of depriving her husband of his constitutional rights by operating in a substandard jail, mostly in the areas of psychiatric care and suicide prevention. The advocate previously reported Rocky Cheney's suicide and that of another inmate, Misty Carvel, who hanged herself 6 weeks after Cheney did. Cheney and Carvel both visited Acadia General Hospital while in custody, and discharge papers provided to jail staff indicated they were both inclined towards self-harm. Carvel was also under video surveillance, but she too was left hanging in her cell for 2 hours before paramedics were called. At the time of their deaths, the jail did not provide any mental health care, which is required under the standards of National Accrediting Organization for Jails. But the Acadia Parish Jail does not seek accreditation, which is voluntary. It is not clear if any changes have been made. A sheriff's office spokesman, Bart Habetz, confirmed that Benoit remains the warden but declined comment on the lawsuit. Cheney had already harmed himself in less than 3 weeks in the jail. 3 days before hanging himself, Cheney swallowed pieces of a broken mirror. He was taken to the emergency room and returned to the jail with physician's orders of bed rest and suicide watch. Prior to that, he hit himself near his colostomy insertion, causing it to bleed. Cheney attempted to kill himself shortly before he was incarcerated and was admitted to Central Louisiana State Hospital, a psychiatric hospital, for a few days, according to the lawsuit. After getting out of the hospital, Cheney began manically depressed and started acting out, which prompted Olga Cheney to call police, according to the lawsuit. Rocky Cheney was arrested on suspicion of domestic abuse, though Olga Cheney said she was trying to find help for him. Rocky Cheney was placed on suicide watch after swallowing the mirror pieces, but the suicide watch was blotched from the start. Records of the watch log the sheriff's office provided to the advocate show pages of missing entries, with some entries conflicting with a separate log for the entire jail. Pages from the suicide watch log representing hours-long stretches are missing altogether. According to the lawsuit, one of the entries in the jail log says visual rounds made at all tiers at a time that Cheney was dead in the cell, while on suicide watch, Cheney managed to obtain a red Sharpie, which he was not allowed to have. He used it to sketch a message in elaborate lettering. In Jesus' Eye of Faith, he wrote, adorned with drawings of trees, hearts, and brick walls. The Sharpie was not discovered until after Cheney's body was found. A medical officer who visited the cell shortly before the suicide letter told detectives he noticed the drawing but not the pen. The medic who was responsible for supervising the suicide watch decided to call the watch off after the visit because Cheney had promised not to hurt himself. The medic did not note the drawing in the suicide watch log. Cheney climbed onto the toilet, tied his colostomy bandage to the ceiling, and hanged himself about a half an hour after the medic spoke with him. Okay, it's getting near the half-hour mark, so we're going to read a couple more public service announcements, and then we'll go to the day in history, the zodiac or horoscope, and the funerals in the Acadiana area for today. AOC teams up with the United Way of Acadiana to learn United. United Way of Acadiana has teamed up with AOC and other educational groups for Learn United, bridging the digital gap to provide educational resources for households that don't have internet but do have a television. The Learn United program airs weekdays from 8 to 2 on AOC 2 and Cox 16 and LUS 4, and streaming at aocinc.org/watch. For the daily schedules and to submit content for the program, visit the United Way of Acadiana website at unitedwayofacadiana.org/learn-united. Keep it calm through the COVID hotline. If you're feeling overwhelmed with stress, fear, and anxiety about the uncertainty surrounding the pandemic, there is a special Keeping Calm Through COVID hotline you can call. This connects you to trained, compassionate counselors who offer support and who can direct you to mental health and substance abuse counseling services. Trained counselors are available 24/7 and all calls are confidential. If you need help, if you need to reach out to somebody who can get you through this unbelievable time that we're in, call 1-866-310-7977. That's 866-310-7977. Locally, you can stop the spread. Call instead, #stop the spread. You can call 311 for COVID-19 updates and information. Call centers with volunteers and medical professionals that are active 24/7 to answer your questions about COVID-19 and determine if you need to get screened. You may also call 311 and press option 2 if you're a business owner or employee or looking for a job to get information about applying for small business recovery loans, apply for unemployment benefits, and related programs. Okay, we're going to go to the day in history. Today is Friday, July 31st, the 213th day of 2020. There are potentially 153 shopping days left in the year. Today's highlight in history on July 31st, 1777, during the Revolutionary War, the Marquis de Lafayette, a 19-year-old French nobleman, was made a major general in the American Continental Army. On this date, in 1556, St. Ignatius of Loyola, founder of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order of Catholic priests and brothers, died in Rome. In 1715, a fleet of Spanish ships carrying gold, silver, and jewelry sank during a hurricane off the East Florida coast. Of some 2,500 crew members, more than 1,000 died. In 1945, Pierre Laval, premier of the pro-Nazi Vichy government, surrendered to U.S. authorities, and Austria. He was turned over to France, which later tried and executed him. In 1954, Pakistan's K2 was conquered as two members of the Italian expedition, Achille Campagnacci and Leo Lacadere, reached the summit. In 1971, Apollo 15 crew members David Scott and James Irwin became the first astronauts to use a lunar rover on the surface of the moon. In 1972, Democratic vice presidential candidate Thomas Eagleton withdrew from the ticket with George McGovern following disclosures that Eagleton had once undergone psychiatric treatment. 1991, President George H.W. Bush and Soviet President Mikhail S. Gorbachev signed the Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty in Moscow. In 2002, on this date, a bomb exploded inside a cafeteria at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, killing 9 people, including 5 Americans. In 2003, the Vatican launched a global campaign against gay marriages, warning Catholic politicians that support of same-sex unions was gravely immoral and urging non-Catholics to join the offensive. In 2014, the death toll from the worst recorded Ebola outbreak in history surpassed 700 in West Africa. 10 years ago, Chelsea Clinton married investment banker Mark Brzezinski in the upstate New York village of Rhinebeck. 5 years ago, Beijing was awarded the 2022 Winter Olympics to become the first city to host both the Winter and Summer Games. 1 year ago, at a Democratic debate in Detroit, former Vice President Joe Biden faced pointed attacks from his younger, diverse rivals. California Senator Kamala Harris criticized Biden for his willingness to work with segregationists in the Senate during the 1970s. Today's birthday, actor Don Murray is 91 years old. Jazz composer and musician Kenny Burrell is 89. Singer Lobo, 76. Lobo. Well, that's a singer's name I haven't heard in a while. Actress Geraldine Chaplin, daughter of Charlie Chaplin, is 76. Former movie studio executive Sherry Lansing is 76. Singer Gary Lewis, Jerry Lewis's son of Gary Lewis and the Playboys, 75 years old. Wow. International Tennis Hall of Famer Yvonne Goolagong Cawley is 69. Actor Barry Van Dyke is 69. Jazz composer, musician Michael Wolff is 68. Let's see who else we got here. Rock musician Bill Benny is 62. Actor Wesley Snipes is 58 today, folks. Actor Dean Cain is 54. Actor Ben Chaplin is 51. Retired NFL quarterback Gus Ferrate is 49. Country singer and musician Zach Brown is 42. And singer Shannon Kerfman is 35. Looking at the zodiac or the horoscope for today, Leos, let your conscience be your guide. Do something that will have an impact. Making someone smile will be rewarding and will push you in a new direction. Romance is featured. So Leos, get out there and look for that romantic relationship. Virgo, my birth sign, make changes instead of testing situations fester. A great idea will lead to offers and suggestions that will help you move forward. Speak your mind and follow your heart. Always do. Libra, let experience be a teacher. Expand your interest instead of procrastinating. Deal with matters intelligently. Let go of the past and embrace the future. Romance is featured. Scorpios, prepare for the changes that you want to make. Be innovative and incorporate new technology into your plans. Don't trust anyone else to be as thorough as you. Sagittarius, anger is a waste of time, and being evasive will cause problems. Honesty and integrity will bring you what's troubling you to the surface and push you to improve your life. And that was that Sagittarius is my wife's birth sign, so hopefully she pays attention to those words. Capricorn is my son's birth sign. Take control and bring about positive change. Address a problem and listen to what others have to contribute. If you work in unison with others, excellent opportunities will develop. Aquarius, a passionate approach will make a difference. Let experience guide you, and you will find new ways to excel. Celebrate your achievements with a loved one. Pisces, honesty matters. Don't avoid issues that need addressing. A professional change will turn out to be beneficial. Protect your home, family, and health. Aries, being consistent, delivering on what you promise, and doing more and talking less will help you gain momentum and deter unwanted interference. Take time to relax at the end of the day. Taurus, getting along with the people you live or work with will win you the support you need to reach your goal. Don't waste time on conditional offers. Gemini, joint ventures will not be in your best interest. Verify any information that comes your way to avoid making a mistake. Curtail excessive behavior or overspending. Depend on trusted resources, not outsiders. And finally, Cancer. Offer answers, solutions, and positive alternatives. Your approach will determine how much you get in return. Know your boundaries, and you reach your goal. Take care of unfinished business before starting something new. And Gemini, before the Cancer, that's my younger son's birth sign. And as always, a horoscope is an entertainment feature, not based on scientific fact. The funerals in the Keniana area today feature Emery Benoit, Evangeline Memorial Gardens Chapel in Carrico at 7 p.m., Marie Broussard, Sacred Heart Jesus Church in Broussard at 3:30 p.m., Richard Groshich, David Funeral Home at David Funeral Home at 316 Youngsville Highway in Lafayette at 10 a.m., Ronald Enray, Martin and Castillo's LaFleur Divinity Chapel in Lafayette at 1 p.m., and Clarence Leloup, Evangeline Memorial Gardens Chapel in Carrico at 1 p.m. All right, getting back into the news. All right, governor says loosening of limits unlikely. Well, before we do that, before we get back into the hard news, let's read a little bit about entertainment. And before we even do that, let's read a couple more public service announcements, shall we, folks? Medicaid resources. If you have lost your job, if you have reduced hours, you may be eligible for Medicaid. You can apply online at mymedicaid.la.gov and also apply by phone by calling 888-342-6207 or by mail by sending information to Louisiana Medicaid, P.O. Box 91283, Baton Rouge, LA 70821, or you can contact your local Medicaid offices. Some are currently closed to the pandemic. If additional assistance is needed, you can call 1-888-342-6207. Individuals whose hours are being reduced at work or have been laid off from employment, they qualify for unemployment insurance benefits. If you're attempting to apply for unemployment insurance and are unable to access an existing online account or need help resetting your password, call Lafayette's Acadiana Workforce Solutions Office at 337-262-5601. Due to high call volume, some calls may not be answered immediately, so call again at a later time. In addition to unemployment insurance benefits, individuals looking for supplemental income can consider local employment opportunities with businesses who are seeking temporary part-time and full-time workers by visiting the COVID-19 Help Wanted resource page at lafayette.org/helpwanted or LEADER's virtual job fair page with local businesses seeking to hire local candidates for full-time employment opportunities at lafayette.org/jobs. And the additional $600 that the government was handing out for unemployment benefits, this was the last week, so hopefully the administration or the government, federal government, can re-engage that. But for now, starting next week, you'll go back to your original unemployment benefit that the state has allowed. Just an update on that. Okay, we'll get back into the news, but I'd like to read you a short entertainment story. I like to do entertainment on Fridays. First of all, a couple of things happening this weekend. The 20th anniversary of New Orleans Satchmo Summerfest goes virtual this year. Online events run through Sunday and include original performances on Facebook Live this weekend. So jazz things up at home with music from Ashika Lake and Little Bighorns, Treme Brass Band, and John Boutte, among others. To find out more information, go to the Satchmo Summerfest at Satchmo, SATCHMO, Summerfest.org. That's Louis Armstrong, Satchmo. The Baton Rouge rhythm and blues artist Justin Garner, blooming in the time of coronavirus. Article is entitled Rise Above by John Wirt, contributing writer to The Advocate. Justin Garner had big plans for 2020. In March, the local rhythm and blues artist was scheduled to sing the national anthem at the New Orleans Pelicans versus Sacramento Kings basketball game at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. In April, Garner was set to headline the Ebb and Flow Festival in Baton Rouge. Neither the Pelican Kings game nor his Ebb and Flow performance happened. Amid the coronavirus pandemic, the spring festival season, sports and special events went on indefinite hiatus. The loss of the high-profile Beats was a major blow for Garner and also stalled the momentum the singer-songwriter gained with his 2019 debuts at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival and the Essence Festival. COVID threw a lot of things for a loop, Garner said. The Ebb and Flow Festival would have been my first headlining concert in my hometown. I was really looking forward to it. Garner anticipates that the Pelicans game anthem performance eventually will happen, albeit virtually. Even better, Garner filmed a half-hour set for his rescheduled virtual Ebb and Flow Festival. Debuting online a few weeks ago, his and the festival's other performers are available for streaming at ebbandflowbr.org/virtual performances. About 3 weeks after Ebb and Flow's postponement, festival coordinator Misty Barnes invited Garner to participate in the event's online configuration. That was an exciting moment. Because at that point, we had all been under serious quarantine, Garner said. Creatively, I was going crazy. Stuck in my house, I couldn't perform any shows, couldn't record music, couldn't do anything. Garner filmed his Ebb and Flow concert in the resonant fourth floor hallway at the Shaw Center for the Arts. He opens with a stirring take on Lift Every Voice and Sing, the song often referred to as the Black national anthem. Garner usually sings only songs he's written at his performances. In the wake of the coronavirus pandemic and nationwide Black Lives Matter protests, he saw an opportunity to send a timely message by singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. The song was heavy on my heart, he said. I wanted to open that performance with that song to show my stance. Garner followed Lift Every Voice and Sing with another non-original song, Rihanna's Love on the Brain, which is my way of saying that in the midst of everything that's going on, I still have love on my mind, he said. Love for my community, love for humanity. Garner sang his remarkably expressive Ebb and Flow concert in front of an audience of 2, his film crew. I had to envision the audience, he explained. I had to envision the people from around the world who follow me. I imagine singing directly to each person individually. Justin is a wonderful performer, producer, and musician, said Jonathan Grimes, Director of Facilities and Music Performing at the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge. He easily adapted the situation and knocked it out of the park. Following the helplessness Garner felt during the early weeks of the pandemic, this virtual Ebb and Flow Festival performance inspired him to create again. I'm thankful for the moment, he said, that kickstarted everything that's going up to now. Garner will release a new EP on August 21st. He's already released 2 new songs, Make a Scene and Melena. Like Lift Every Voice and Sing, his new original song, Melena has a message. Melena, of course, is the pigment that colors skin, hair, and eyes in humans and animals. While we're dealing with the pandemic and social inequality, I wanted to create a sense of unity, Garner said. The song is based on the pigmentation that we all have in common. A melanin music video can be viewed at youtube.com Justin Garner and facebook.com official Justin Garner. Garner's other news includes his first TV placement in May. MTV used the song Rush in season 8, episode 19 of Teen Mom OG. Having recently begun working with a music publisher, he anticipates it's the first of many more placements this year. Although Garner misses singing for audiences, he's using these pandemic times to further develop his singing and writing. It's given way to a new sound, even more of the soulful R&B vocals than I'm used to, he said. Garner's new songs include Bloom, an intimate, soulful ballad inspired by his relationship with his wife, Haley. We've experienced so much growth in our love for each other while being in quarantine, he said. So, nice story. It's good that people are still being creative during this time. Okay, looking at state news, governor says loosening of limits unlikely. Statewide virus trends appear to be plateauing by Sam Carlin. Despite Louisiana's coronavirus trends showing signs of improvement, Governor John Bel Edwards on Thursday signaled the state would likely remain in its modified phase 2 of reopening, in which masks are mandatory and bars are likely shuttered beyond August 7th, when it is slated to expire. Edwards said he's encouraged by recent drops in the number of hospitalized coronavirus patients, which has reached the lowest point in 10 days, and cases appear to be plateauing, with the weekly caseload rising by a slower clip. Still, the state is nowhere near meeting the gating criteria outlined by the White House, to which the governor said his administration is still adhering, along with the recent emphasis by federal officials on the share of tests coming back positive. That criteria also involves sustained declines in cases, COVID-like illnesses and hospitalizations over 2 weeks, as well as a positive rate of less than 10%. The state currently does not meet the criteria on hospitalizations and cases, and the state doesn't regularly report COVID-like illnesses. Dr. Jimmy Guidry, the state's public health officer, said the health department may move forward with an effort to establish surge facilities inside existing hospitals that would act like the medical monitoring station at the Ernest and Memorial Convention Center in New Orleans, accepting patients who are well enough to leave the ICU. The Department of Public Safety and Corrections is amid mass testing of inmates and staff, Edwards said, which uncovered 182 cases at Allen Correctional Center and Kinder, about 80% of which were from people who are asymptomatic. Positivity rate may be key to reopening, but ways to calculate vary by Ben Mars. Among the slew of data points that health authorities across the U.S. release daily, one is becoming increasingly fashionable: the positivity rate, commonly understood as the percentage of new tests that are positive. It is a malfunctional stat that provides case increases reflect spread of the disease and are not simply a result of more testing. It is also seen as a concrete benchmark for safe reopening. If the positivity rate in the community remains below a certain threshold, it is seen as evidence that testing capacity is adequate and the virus has been contained. Yet for all its persuasive power and convenience, calculating the positivity rate is a bit more difficult than it seems at first blush, and according on which method is used, the results can vary quite dramatically. The difference in how positivity is calculated is very technical, but very important, as the rate becomes a focal point in public policy, said Cyrus Shaper, who led the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's response to global public health emergencies in 2016 and 2017. If someone tests positive once and then again 3 weeks later, the second test result is not included in the daily case count, which are the numerator in the common ways of calculating positivity. State officials say strictly looking at all tests, including retests, It's a more accurate methodology because it ensures consistency of variables when calculating percentages. It was not clarified that he was using a different methodology on July 21st when he cited the 15.5% rate for the preceding week. His spokeswoman, Christina Stevens, said that Tuesday that Edwards follows the method used by the Health Department and CDC when making public policy. Whichever variables are used, Susan Hasek, an epidemiologist at Tulane University, authorities said it should be clearer with the public about what they are calculating. It's really hard to judge from the geek, nerdy epidemiology side just how detailed the information should be that you are communicating with the public, Hasek said. There's a great deal of concern about people zoning out. And council to discuss restoring $500,000 of subsidy. Cajun Dome seeks help to keep staff, provide maintenance by Claire Taylor. Since March, when the governor ordered residents to stay home and close businesses because of the coronavirus, the Cajun Dome and Convention Center lost 27 major events and $1.6 million in net revenue. Director Pam DeVille expects to close out the 2019-20 fiscal year October 31st with a $2.2 million net revenue loss. We'd be really happy if we can get to 2021, she told the Lafayette City Council on Thursday. In May, DeVille told the council and administration about the canceled events and lost revenue, warning that if things don't change, the facility could be in danger of closing. The state paid for the Cajun Dome building, and the University of Louisiana Lafayette donated the land. The city agreed to pay as much as $500,000 a year to subsidize operations. The city's subsidy has gone as high as $750,000 one year, and often has been lower. In 2018 and 2019, it was cut to $376,382. Lafayette Parish Mayor President Josh Guillory proposed 2020-21 budget cut that in half of $167,372. DeVille asked the City Council on Thursday to give the Cajun Dome the full $500,000 to help keep it on enough staff and provide maintenance until large event centers are reported and revenue returns. Out of 49 employees, all but 17 were laid off, and 10 of the 17 are furloughed. In the spring, the Cajun Dome was granted a $975,000 line of credit, DeVille said, but she didn't want to use it because she's unsure whether facilities will be able to generate the revenue to pay back a loan. Facilities across the country are in similar situations because of the coronavirus. The $500,000 investment the city makes for the Cajun Dome has a rate of return of $45 million in money spent on hotels and restaurants, according to a 2019 study by the Lafayette Economic Development Authority, she said. Okay. And before we go on to the next story, I just want to say that in about a minute or so, our audio will cut off on our TV stations, but the news will continue. I have a few more stories to read and a sports-related story this morning, so I will continue reading. But you'll be able to continue listening to the news stories and my voice on our YouTube station, which is AOC Community Media, and our online streaming service provided to you free of charge. Cypress Street Radio, that's CYPRESS Street Radio. Just go to Cypress Street Radio, punch it into your to where you punch in everything, punch it in, go to the website, and click on the play button, and you'll continue to hear the news. Financial hardships still plague child care centers by Will Centel. Losses for Louisiana daycare operators because of the coronavirus pandemic have more than tripled since May and now total $100 million, the leader of an advocacy group said on Thursday. 2 months ago, officials said revenue dips had reached $30 million, mostly because of plummeting attendance as more parents worked from home or became unemployed. Libby Saunier, Executive Director of the Louisiana Policy Institute for Children, said one of the key problems is fewer children are attending the state's 1,400 publicly licensed centers. They cannot get kids in the door because we cannot get a handle on the pandemic, Saunier said, and people are just worried about the virus. We truly don't know the true effect on young children. Early this year, the State Department of Education said only 31% of the centers remain open, including 200 closed in the Baton Rouge area. Those closures affected about 83,000 children, and operators said they needed an average of about $23,000 to reopen. Officials said recently that those figures have since reversed, with 70% open and 30% closed. Asanya said there are cases of centers with a capacity of 200 children having only 50 in attendance. She said an operator in New Orleans with a center that can care for 100 children reported having only 18 at the site. Some centers reopened in hopes that the state would move to phase 3 for the reopening of its economy, which would loosen restrictions on gatherings and other activities. However, the state remains in phase 2, which means stricter rules because of the resurgence of the virus across the state. The financial viability is hard, Saunier said. There are some thoughts that the centers that reopen may have to close again because they just can't afford it. Child care leaders have tried to boost the urgency of this message by noting the links between the centers and workers who rely on care for their children while they work. Top officials of the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, Greater New Orleans, Inc., and others have rallied on behalf of efforts to find aid for child care centers. Another challenge is the fact that employees of the centers are paid an average of only $8.95 an hour. Okay, first-time jobless claims drop in LA by Timothy Boone. The number of first-time unemployment claims in Louisiana dropped sharply last week, but the number of people who continue to get jobless benefits rose. There were 18,511 initial unemployment claims filed during the week ending Saturday, according to figures released Thursday by the Louisiana Workforce Commission. That's down from 32,079 first-time claims filed last week ending July 18th. In comparison, the more typical numbers, just 2,022 first-time claims were filed the same week last year. Continuing claims rose to 324,357 last week from 313,117 the previous week. In comparison, the number of claims for the same week in 2019 was 17,740. Along with the 324,357 unemployed workers, another 155,000 freelancers, independent contractors, and other gig workers are estimated to have lost jobs as a result of the coronavirus pandemic and are counted separately. There were 2,831 new claims among unclassified workers, reflecting people who worked at new businesses that haven't gotten an industry code yet from the Workforce Commission, Barnes said. Combination in food services and industry hard hit by the coronavirus pandemic had 2,692 new claims, construction 1,753, retail trade 1,750, and healthcare and social assistance 1,744. For continued unemployment benefits, a combination of food service businesses accounted for 77,809 claims, retail trade 38,619, healthcare and social assistance 33,007, and construction 30,035. A court rules for state and Harris tax case by Tyler Bridges. The state of Louisiana is one step closer to collecting up to $50 million from the owners of the Harrah's New Orleans after Baton Rouge Appeals Court ruled the casino company owes back taxes to the state dating back to 2001. Harrah's officials have been arguing in court since 2010 that a 2001 law exempts them from paying sales and occupancy taxes to the state on hotel rooms that they comp or discount to their customers or comp at hotels owned by others. Department of Revenue has counted that if Harris gives away a hotel room, it should still pay the hotel taxes on that room to the state. Current tax is 10%, so for a $200 hotel room, the state would collect $20. Wednesday's 2-1 filing and ruling by the State First Circuit Court of Appeal upholds a 2019 decision by 19th Judicial District Court Judge William Morvant of Baton Rouge that said the Revenue Department had a clear and unambiguous right to the taxes. Most of the money in question would go to two state-owned facilities in New Orleans, at the Ernest N. Memorial Convention Center and the Louisiana Superdome Commission, as well as the state coffers. Comedian, I died after being punched in New Orleans. Andy Dick says he wants suspect held accountable by Raymond Antonio Vargas. Comedian Andy Dick said Wednesday that he's willing to do whatever Orleans Parish prosecutors need from him to revive the case they recently dropped against the man who punched him outside a French Quarter nightclub last summer. A statement from the district attorney's office on Tuesday said prosecutors were refusing to pursue battery charges against 47-year-old David Tiger Hale because Dick had not been cooperative in the investigation against his alleged attacker. Dick on Wednesday didn't dispute that he lost touch with prosecutors handling Hale's case, but he blamed that on his poor mental and physical state since being knocked out, not disinterest in seeing it through. He said he's now willing to travel to New Orleans and testify if that's what it will take. I'm afraid of Hale, really scared of him, and I almost don't want to deal with it, Dick said, 54 said during a telephone interview. I want him held accountable because he's going to kill someone. He was trying to legitimately kill me. He just didn't quite do the job. Hale's attorney, Michael Kennedy, said Wednesday that he remained convinced the DA's office made the right decision a day earlier. Hale previously told attorneys that the genitals had been founded by Dick, who provoked him into punching the Hollywood performer. If anything further comes from the matter, we didn't expect any different outcomes, and we remain committed to our client's vindication, Kennedy said. District Attorney's Office spokesman Ken Daly on Wednesday said prosecutors would redouble their efforts to reestablish contact with Dick and resume working on the case. Daly had previously said the office had until 2023 to file changes against Hale before a statute of limitations prevents that from happening. And going on to our last story of the morning, SEC approves league-only schedule. LSU's football rematch with Texas eliminated by Brooks Kubana. The Southeastern Conference, or the SEC, announced Thursday it will play a 10-game league-only schedule, joining the majority of other major college football conferences in a decision that cancels non-league games and delays the upcoming season during the coronavirus pandemic. SEC school presidents met Thursday afternoon and voted on the decision, a day after a majority of the league's athletic directors reportedly voted during a virtual meeting to approve the idea. The league's team will start their season September 26th, 3 weeks after they were originally scheduled to begin. The 17 East and West divisions will still compete in the standings, and the SEC championship game has been pushed back 2 weeks to December 9th at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The SEC usually only plays an 8-game conference schedule each year, so teams will play 2 more schools from the opposite division to complete their schedules. Each team's schedule will also include one mid-season open date and an open date on December 12th. The elimination of non-conference games means LSU's highly anticipated contest against Texas, a Big 12 conference member, is canceled. Longhorns were scheduled to play September 12th, my birthday, in Tiger Stadium. It said the rematch of LSU's 45-38 win in Austin last season has been swept off the books, along with LSU's non-conference games against UT, San Antonio, Rice, and Nicholls State. LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward said in a statement, as a conference, we have been aligned in the process from the beginning. There is still a great deal of work to be done, and many important decisions to be made, Board said, but this is a big step in the right direction for our conference, our schools, and our student athletes. The season's new start date also throws LSU practice schedule in flux. The NCAA has allowed teams they scaled to return to practice with limits since July 13th, and LSU is scheduled to report for its full preseason camp August 6th. This adds 3 more weeks of 20-hour per week practice time for teams, which could prove tiresome for some teams. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey told ESPN's Paul Feinbaum there isn't yet a new structure for preseason practices, but he said the league spoke with head coaches Thursday morning and told them if there's a delay, they're going to have to alter their approach. The ACC announced Wednesday its revised plan to play an 11-game schedule with room for 1 non-conference game, and that Notre Dame will play a 10-game conference schedule and be eligible to play for the ACC title. The possibility for 1 non-conference game allowed the ACC to retain some of the major in-state rivalries its members have with SEC opponents: Florida State, Kentucky, Louisville, South Carolina, Clemson, and Georgia Tech. The Big 12 still hasn't announced its official plans, and League Commissioner Bob Bowlesby told ESPN on Wednesday that the league's presidents will be presented with 4 or 5 scheduling models to consider when they meet on Monday. LSU's 3 other non-conference games this season all had their own substantial price tags. LSU's top athletic officials made it clear in the past that they intended to play football as scheduled. Coach Ed Orgeron told Fox News on July 15th he thought there would be a football season in the fall with some adjustments, and that he thought the country needs it. It was a similar statement he gave at a roundtable with Vice President Mike Pence at Tiger Stadium the day before. LSU is still preparing to have fans in Tiger Stadium, releasing plans for cashless transactions and mobile ticketing in the last 2 days. The department is preparing multiple scenarios for seating and capacity. All right, folks. Well, thank you for tuning in past our usual audio on our TV stations. I did go a little bit over time today. On Fridays, I like to get in all the news and some entertainment as well. So I appreciate if you continue to listen on our YouTube station at AOC Community Media and our online streaming radio service at Cypress Street Radio. I appreciate it very much. As always, this is Bruce Cohen. Will always be Bruce Cohen. I ask you to stay safe, healthy, and smart. Please, folks, please be smart. With the every day, we got to get out of this funk that we're in as far as phase 2 goes. The only way we can do that is to mitigate it by wearing masks when you go out in public, by taking sanitation requirements, by washing your hands, by sanitizing, doing everything we've been told to do for the last 5 months to get rid of this virus, or to curtail the virus, or to plateau the virus, especially here in our state of Louisiana, so we can get back out there and enjoy our life. So please, please, please be safe, be healthy, be smart, and as always, be kind to each other. Good morning and have a great weekend.